What's up, you guys? ShartimusPrime here at New York Toy Fair 2019 at the McFarlane Toys booth with the man himself, Mr. Todd McFarlane. How are you enjoying the show this year, sir?
Russ, appreciate you coming back again. Seems like you come back, support us every year, so thanks for talking to me, and say hi to all the fans when you see them.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I'm very excited about some changes that have been happening recently that we've heard about in the press. I don't know what it could possibly be, but it sounds like there's some licensing deals going on.
Yeah, look at it. Every company has to be in continuing. You're always searching, right? You're always lurking. You've always got a hook in the water, hoping that something bites. In some years, you catch a couple big fish. Sometimes it gets a little bit lean, and you move to another sort of watering hole. But we got lucky on Monday. We were able to announce the Harry Potter license. That there seems to be a big resurgence of it, especially at the sort of the licensing and the retail end of it, because we've been here now for a couple days, and it's one of the big sort of eye openers to people. They're all the buyers are going, I'll take that for sure, right? And then they pick and choose some of the other stuff, and then on Tuesday we announced the DC Multiverse, which again is in my sweet spot, right? As a comic book guy who's done Spawn for so long and whatever. I've been in the toy business now for over 2 decades, and it bugged me every time I came to these toy fairs, and because you walk around, that I go, I am the only guy in this building that has neither Star Wars, Marvel, or DC. I swear every other booth has at least some piece of one of the 3 big ones, right? Yeah. And so now I go, wow, I get one of the big boys. Yeah. We'll start in 2020 with that, and we'll just, I've got lots of crazy ideas, and we're gonna do a lot of cool stuff.
I'm very excited about that. 2 things in particular is I noticed that your articulation on the figures, especially with the Fortnite figures, I reviewed some of those. Yeah. I'm very impressed. Every year I bug you about articulation, and I keep talking about articulation, and then this year, or 2018 anyway, saw crazy amounts of articulation. Yeah. Very happy. You have adult collectors that don't care about Fortnite buying Fortnite figures just because they're so well articulated.
Yeah, it's interesting because at some point I'm going to have like a 2-hour debate about articulation, like why it matters so much, because so you can put him so you can kiss his own butt. I don't know why that's important, but it seems to be, right? So one of the reasons that I'm an artist first, and so what my mentality always had been was, how do you put as much articulation you can without distorting the art, right? But then what we saw, and we tried it over and over, in corners, and it seemed to not matter if you did a lot of articulation, if it sort of adjusted the art, people still dug it, right? So I'm going, so because it's maybe bugging me and my artistic sensibilities, because I got to put a ball instead of smoothing the arm out. Right. But if the consumer wants it, then it doesn't matter, right? And at some point you have to, so when we went to Fortnite, we just said, let's just go crazy with it. Let's see what the reaction is. And if they like it, then we'll just use that as our go-to articulation sort of moving forward, right?
Excellent.
So we're going to try and do for, let's say for Harry Potter and the DC Multiverse, we're going to try and keep that same type of articulation. Some characters and their uniforms and their armor, whatever it is, we'll limit it a bit, but my guess is they'll still all be between 18 and 24, right? So even one that doesn't have a lot will still have 18 moving parts or something like that.
So we're going to see that kind of articulation with DC Multiverse, I'm assuming, and then I'm very curious to see if we're going to see your artistic influence in any figures, like a McFarlane Batman action figure. That would blow my freaking mind. I'd love to see something like that.
And so here's where we're at with it right now. Again, given that it doesn't start to 2020, is that Warner Brothers, who owns DC, in the DC Multiverse, have essentially said, Todd, if you got any crazy ideas in your head, bring them to us. Now, they're not saying they will approve it. Yeah. They're not saying they will like it. And they're not saying they're going to let me make any of it. But what they're saying, which is at least I think very valuable, is think as wide as you want right now, and don't box yourself in, right? Because sometimes when I do license, people say, wow, you can only do this and this and that. So they're just saying, hey, as long as you're within the confines of your contract, then whatever the art is within that, get as crazy as you want. So we'll see. I'm gonna be pitching them a lot. Maybe they'll only say yes to every 1 out of 5. But I've asked the same question, right?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
if I design something, is that okay? Bring it to us, right?
Wow.
Bring it to us. Bring it to us. So we'll
There's
have.
nothing really off the table at right now. It's just kind of
and look,
everything.
even if they go, we don't like all your designs, Todd, and I hope they don't. I used to work at DC. Right,
yeah,
so there actually is McFarlane DC
exactly.
Batman stuff that's there. I'll just do that Batman. Just happens to be my drawing.
No, I took it from the comics. I use the comics as a reference.
No. But again, they're saying, Todd, when you're talking about any character, you can look at the comics, TV, movies, video games, animation, and then if you want to come up with crazy stuff, right? So there's 6 buckets of visuals that I can be looking at to just go, oh my gosh, which one of those would be the most appealing to people who like that character and who they are. So.
Oh, that is awesome. Is there a chance at revisiting the Walking Dead line with the extra articulation? That's something I was thinking about a little bit, because I know there's been a lot of characters been flushed out through Walking Dead and 5-inch. Like, how many Rick Grimes figures have you made, right?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
So I could kind of understand why that wouldn't be explored, but I'm curious if that's ever been on the table.
And it's interesting because, Rick Grimes, Batman, Tom Brady, Master Chief, right? These are all characters that I believe you can make over and over and over and over and over, and you never get to the end of it. Why? Because every day there's somebody who's a fan of one of those people, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't assume that when you're doing big characters, and Rick Grimes obviously is the king of The Walking Dead, that somebody's walking down the aisle going, I like Walking Dead, but I don't like Rick Grimes. You can't make that assumption on any day, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you can even say, hey, because we sold that character in January, that there's not a fan in February, right? So there are characters that to me are evergreens that you can keep putting out. So when we're exploring things like Walking Dead, then we're not. There's no holdbacks on any of the characters. We don't sit there and worry about what we sold in the last 10 years. We worry about what we're going to sell tomorrow, right? So I mean, we've done 5, 6 Tom Brady's of the Patriots, and as long as he keeps playing and
getting
winning,
more and more rings. So
as long as he keeps and he's good and people like him, then we'll keep making them, right? So.
Yeah, I went to high school with him, by the way.
You did?
Yeah, I thought he was just a schmuck. I didn't know he was going to be the best QB of all time.
So,
but
you missed your calling. Could have been a wide receiver.
Yeah, I missed my calling.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about some of the other product that you have coming out that you're really excited about, though?
I mean, again, the vast majority of it is going to still be in the action figure aisle.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing some role play stuff for Fortnite. Some big cosplay sort of items. Obviously, we've got our construction builds over here. With Hello Neighbor and Five Nights at Freddy. And then you can see the Cuphead stuff, which is kind of cool because the people who were doing it gave us original artwork for the boxes. They actually drew the artwork on the boxes. They did
great.
Just for our packaging. I go, it's cool. But for the action figures, we've got things like Game of Thrones coming out. That'll be releasing, I think in April, right when the new season's coming out. Stranger Thing, that'll be in July, about when season 3 comes out. So we'll have some product for that. We've got all of our sort of manga, anime lines that are coming out. My Hero Academia seems to be bubbling. There's a little bit of a buzz on that one. Some of the retailers are saying that one's starting to sort of move up. We've got our video game stuff, Call of Duty, Borderlands, obviously Fortnite, things like that.
Yeah.
And we continue to do the sports, and we're going to, I'm back into consulting with and helping to distribute the baseball and hockey, so we're back to all 4 sports again that have the McFarlane influence here. We got lots. And like I said, we got the Harry Potter comes out a little bit at the end of this year, and then the DC Multiverse then hits. I'm hoping January 2nd, because the stores will be closed January 1st. So January 2nd, I'm hoping you'll be able to buy some stuff.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I was wondering, like with the One Punch Man figure, I heard that you're kind of going back on that figure and you're going to change like what we've seen so far from it.
Some of it we're going to, again, some of it was developed before we saw that people were getting so excited about what was happening with some of the articulation we were putting on the Fortnite figures. So, for the ones that we have moving forward, we're going to be looking to just sort of make that a little bit of our sort of standard go-to articulation across the board with any new license as we move forward, within reason, as long as it still looks decent, right?
Yeah,
so One Punch Man, his costume's pretty simple. So again, those are the ones that, to me, if you go too far, they look a little bumpy to my eye. So
So last question.
Do it.
Because this is something I've thought about since I was very, very young, seeing the athletic figurines.
Yep.
If the highly articulated product keeps going well, would you think about adding in some fully articulated 7 to 8 inch scale, sports character, or not characters, but the athletes? Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, we have. It's possible. And I think it would work better for some sports over others, right? Or some positions over another. So if you for the football, I think would work. If you had, let's say, somebody who was a cornerback, so now you can make him look like he was going for an interception or a tackle, and it would work. Quarterbacks would be cool because then he could be doing a handoff, or he could be sort of looking for a pass. Baseball on a swing would be a little bit difficult, and the reason I say that, not to geek out, but when you swing a baseball bat, because I played college ball, you swing shoulder to shoulder, and what happens is your muscles compress, and you can't get that in a toy. I can't go shoulder to shoulder on a toy without making them look ugly in the normal way.
Break it up all the way in here.
I could do a pitcher, because then now you can do in the stretch, or you can get them in the middle of a windup. Basketball, you could get them to be dribbling and shooting. So we're looking and talking about that as we're seeing the success of that. To what extent can we do that with the sports figures? So keep your eyes open. We'll maybe we might even just sort of tease it and do whatever. I mean, we're also, as you can see back here, we're gonna since we're gonna go old school a little bit. We're gonna bring back some of the stuff that basically put us on the map, 20 years ago, and just not a ton of it. Just like here's one here, here's one here, here's one here, here's one here, and we'll just say McFarlane Gold Retro, right? With the thing that sort of got people excited at our very first toy fair.
And I'm assuming that we're going to see fully articulated Spawn figures, Spawn movie figures, maybe some going back to some comic versions and all that stuff.
Yeah, all the above, right?
Awesome.
So we got lots of momentum going. We'll get it out. We'll see how excited people are, and then we'll just move from there. But like I said at the beginning, where you're searching, sometimes, like I said, it gets pretty thin. But we've got lots of license and lots of momentum and lots of people knocking on our door wanting us to do products. So the future looks pretty bright for us right now.
I'm very excited. I know I said one more question, but I just wanted to know how the Spawn movie was coming along. I had to ask about the Spawn.
Yeah, we're doing a polish on it right now, and I'm hoping to get that in maybe 2 weeks back from the writer. I've been talking with him off and on, and then as soon as we get it, then we go back into Hollywood and we go, let's go, right? So I'm hoping with maybe within a month, 6 weeks, that maybe we'll have some answer someplace, right? And the thing is, there's plenty of people outside of Hollywood that have money that are waiting. So the money's there. We're making this movie. The question is how are we going to structure the business deal with one of the studios, either in advance or post making the movie. So anyway, it's still moving way slower than my life is. I'm used to. I'm used to making toys and comic books at a fast pace, right?
Yeah.
We've also got Spawn issue 300 of the comic book coming out this year, which
Congratulations, by the way.
Which will set the North American record for the longest independent comic book. And 301, because there was a book years ago that went 300 issue, and 301 the very next month will set the record. And then after that, it'd just be Cal Ripken Jr. and every issue comes out just extends the record, right? So Spawn's coming, and there's going to be some historical significance with it in the comic book industry.
Wow, this is amazing. It's a great time for McFarlane Toys, for Mr. Todd McFarlane himself as well. This is great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, it's called life. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes it's in the middle. So we seem to be having some good luck right now.
Yeah, that's great. I'm very excited for everything that's coming out, and I appreciate your time with me here today.
All right,
We're at New York Toy Fair 2019. Stay tuned for more, and we'll catch you guys later. Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't. Your face.